18 years is a period long enough for a child to become grown up to the age of direction and reach adulthood, loaded with bittersweet flavors for parents in their children's upbringing journey. For now, when 18 years has glided by, they can gently smile because they have fulfilled their key responsibility for their children. However, there is also a mom who has never relieved the burden of her shoulders in the role of a dad and a mom, who has never felt that she has accomplished the mission for her children even 18 years, 28 years, or many more have passed. Because not only has the mom been caring for and raising more than 350 orphaned and disabled children at the shelter of Quê Hương Humanitarian Center, but she has been also a benefactor and a fairy in this life to thousands of unhappy and miserable lives everywhere. Because she has always been ready to open her arms to cherish and to warm their lives that had been too cold and warming. Overcoming all hardships, challenges, pains and losses in the 18-year journey of navigating the humanitarian boat called Quê Hương, the mom's overwhelming love has stayed unchanged towards the pitiful and miserable conditions. Along with them, the mom has kept painting an extremely beautiful picture of human love and kindness. And now, when preparing to turn 19, the mom accompanies them to light up so many aspirations and dreams in the new journey. The mom is Huỳnh Tiểu Hương, founder and director of Quê Hương Humanitarian Center. Before Quê Hương Humanitarian Center was set up on December 10, 2001 in Tân Phú District, Ho Chi Minh City, Miss Huỳnh Tiểu Hương has been an angel to miserable and unfortunate homeless everywhere. Her house has always been a warm and peaceful place to the lonely elderly, the disabled, the poor, the wandering children. Though she not a relative to them, but whenever she sees them come to her home, she is so considerate to greet them as if they are her own relatives and gives them the most thoughtful and wholehearted care. She always offers them a treat to delicious dishes in her home. She is willing to give them any valuable gift. Then, the good reputation of Tiểu Hương Fairy spreads and resounds all over to many in the unfortunate circle, and they talked each other into coming to her home en masse. So, her nearly 1,000 square meters mansion suddenly became so small to the number of street children and the misfortune in need of her help. And she wants to fulfill the dreams and desires for themselves and herself, which is to build a home of dreams to care for and nurture orphaned and disabled children. After many years of hard work and business, she has accumulated a large sum of money, enough for her to enjoy a happy and peaceful life all her life. But instead, she has spent her whole accumulated patrimony to set up Quê Hương Humanitarian Center to help the poor and unrecognized being live in a warm home of love. Tiểu Hương always loves and takes care of them like her biological children. She often hands on the best to her children. Though throughout her childhood, she had never been cared for and comforted by her parents, she somehow became very adept at taking care of her children when she had them. Perhaps God also sees through her immense kindness and bestowed on her such a miraculous power. She has always blessed herself that, no matter how hard she suffered to some extent, she always does her best to offer her children a decent and happy life equal to other children's. Over time, the number of abandoned children admitted into Quê Hương Humanitarian Center stay increasingly higher. Thus, She keeps thinking of finding a larger lot of land to build a larger and more spacious home for her children. With the joint hands and support of many individuals and charities, in December 2003, the inauguration reborn of Quê Hương Humanitarian Center Facility 2 was cut at Tân Đông Hiệp Quận, Dĩ An Town, Bình Dương Province. At the shelters of Quê Hương Humanitarian Center in Bình Dương, thanks to the facility advantages, the children's care and raising grow better and better. Not only has the paid attention to the children's food and clothes, but she had also devoted all her heart to giving them a bright future down the road. In particular, she always gave her top priorities to her children's study. Thanks to the joint hands and efforts to guide us far and near, in 2015, Huỳnh Tiểu Hương Primary and Junior High School was built within Quê Hương Humanitarian Center. As a result, all her children from preschool to junior high school age are educated. Some older children study in the community. So far, there are almost 100 children in local high schools. Particularly, those who have the desire to learn a trade, the mom is to facilitate their study of driving, car repairing, sewing, toy acupuncturing, knitting, art. Especially those who are gifted with the attitude of sport and arts are discovered and then fostered calmly by Tiểu Hương mom and teachers. In almost all fields, from martial arts and arts to football, table tennis, swimming, basketball, and volleyball. The children of Tiểu Hương mom have all sons and brought home high prizes, identifying them with priceless gifts for their mom. For ordinary families, raising one or two children has been a burden. Here, the fraternised woman is responsible for raising more than 350 children. Each morning when she wakes up, she immediately thinks about making chance of millions of Vietnam dong to cover the cost of food and drink, study and living activities for her children. Though she still regularly receives the help and support from benefactors far and near, that amount is still disproportionate compared to the expenses of studying and living of more than 350 children, as well as maintaining the activities of Quê Hương Humanitarian Center. Thus, she had to work harder and harder, much afar from her children, to earn a living with many trades. Because the capital and wealth that she had accumulated after decades of real estate business began to shrink. The children's good attitude and interaction into the community life during the 18-year journey reciprocate her affection and hard work. Tiểu Hương mom has helped more than 4,000 children set up their own family life, out of as Taiwanese companies and businesses, P&G, VMEP companies. Many people in the philanthropy world often wonder, where does Tiểu Hương get the money? But she always stages charitable programs everywhere. But each time, she often hands relief to hundreds of beneficiaries with the donated amount of 200 of millions of Vietnam dong. And she often has very simple reply that, because God still loves her and blesses her with health and good luck in business, she can earn such the money to care for the poor. But few person knows that behind the fresh and holy smile and behind that kind-hearted face is a worry and calculation to cover everything. Indeed, in spite of being busy with hundreds of thousands of stuff, though she is always in a state of shortness of breath because of the so great burden onto her shoulders, she still remembers very accurately and fully certain meaningful events, days and months during a year to stage celebrations for the unfortunate life to make them happy. Every year, whether she is at home or working away from home, she also spends a sum of money handing wheelchairs and giving relief to the disabled on the occasion of Vietnam Day of People with Disabilities on April the 18th. On the International Children's Days on June the 1st, Quê Hương Center often bursts with children singing and playing, because that is the time when she stages a music and present handy program to the children. That's not all. Each new school year starts like many other moms. Tiểu Hương mom hates to prepare and buy everything for her children to be ready for the new school year. Not only does she take care of her children, but she also stages a ceremony for a new school year's kickoff, and then awards scholarships, bikes, books, notebooks, clothes to back poor students everywhere so that they can go to school. Then during the Mid-Autumn Festival, Christmas, New Year, and so on, she again like a fairy to appear in the world of unfortunate children to offer them presents and beautiful clothes. But she not satisfied with the achieved results. For many years, she had always been a leader in relief and sponsorship activities for the elderly, the poor, and the disabled across Vietnam. In 2019 alone, she held a series of mom heart programs so that the children can meet and interact with some famous beautiful queens and footballers such as Miss Universe Hanlie, runner-up of Miss Vietnam Thuy Anh, Quang Hải, and Văn Hậu footballers, Bùi Tiến Dũng, goalkeeper of Vietnamese football team. In this program, the celebrities have inspired their positive life energy in the children so that they can have further faith and energy to overcome their difficulties to realize their dreams and ambitions. Along with the programs, hundreds of relief packs were also given to thousands of poor and unhappy people everywhere. Being a disadvantaged woman in her private life, Huỳnh Tiểu Hương sees through the aspirations of women who have been wives, moms, or even grandmothers. But she had not donned her own wedding dress and worked side by side her husband in her wedding day, the big happy day of her life. Thus, at the end of June 2019, she kept organizing the program A Mom's Heart, the 100 couple convergence, with the desire to help bring joy and happiness to couples in love, with their especially difficult circumstances, helping them feel the full meaning of the joys of married life, and to relive the joyful and happy prime of youth with their spouses. In this special program, loaded with meaningfully humanitarian sense, Tiểu Hương gave many valuable and meaningful wedding presents to couples, including a pair of wedding rings, 500,000 Vietnam dong in cash, and a pair of pillows. Also in this program, Quê Hương Humanitarian Center also handed 1,000 gifts, 50 scholarships, and 10 wheelchairs to unlucky and disadvantaged conditions. Not only that, the Mom's Heart program has also reached the disabled via Quê Hương journey by three-wheelers to Phan Thiết City, Bình Thuận Province. Apart from musical exchanging and campfire setting, more than 150 disabled people will also receive gifts from Miss Tiểu Hương, including rice, confectionery, and 550,000 Vietnam dong in cash. Also, she visited the children at Tân Đức Kindergarten, Phan Thiết City, and presented 20 million Vietnam dong. And soon after that, a charity trip called Mom Heart to Poor Ethnic Minority in Gia Lai Province kept being staged. In this windy and sunny plateau, Tiểu Hương and other donors have given more than 2,000 gifts to ethnic minority people in difficult circumstances in the three communes of Ia Mia, Ia Trang, and Ia Pung of Tu Prong district. Each gift is worth 400,000 Vietnam dong, including rice, loaf, blankets, instant noodles, cooking oil, and cash. Also, Miss Huỳnh Tiểu Hương donated to the funds of the association in the Red Cross of Gia Lai Province, Red Cross of Chư Prong District, People's Committees of various communes, and Fatherland Fund of various communes 10 million Vietnam dong each. Especially with her heart always constantly aiming at children, Tiểu Hương did not forget to give scholarships and books to poor students who overcome their difficulties and be thirsty for study to give them further confidence and motivation on the way to education. Accordingly, 30 scholarships were awarded to poor pupils who had overcome their difficulties and be thirsty for study in this program. All the rest of the children were given gifts and candy by Huỳnh Tiểu Hương very in person. That's it. She neither waited for a sponsor nor for enough money to organize a charity program. Giving away has become her life choice and living ways. And it always motivates her each day so that she can further try making more efforts for the sake of the orphans, the disabled, and the lonely elderly. Because of such a beautiful and proud-worthy life, she has been awarded many noble titles by the motto, "The woman makes the pulse of Vietnam," "The angel in real life," "The fairy in the middle of life," "The still rose." Also, she is honored to be one of the world's 20 typical difficulty overcoming examples. They were awarded the title of Love of Life by Châu Đào Quân Education and Counter Foundation in Taiwan, and awarded the title of World Charity Ambassador in the Philippines. Thanks to the effective and practical action towards the orphaned and disabled children and the poor, unhappy people. For the past 18 years, Quê Hương Humanitarian Center has always received the attention and support of various leaders of central and local agencies and sectors, organizations, individuals, and businesses, such as the late top-ranking General Võ Nguyên Giáp, the late General Secretary Đỗ Mười, the former General Secretary Lê Khả Phiêu, and former Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Khanh, former Vice President Nguyễn Thị Bình, former Vice President Trương Mỹ Hoa, former President of the Central Committee of Vietnam Fatherland Front Mr. Phạm Thế Duyệt, former Lieutenant General Hoàng Minh Thao. Enterprises always traveling with her are Đại Dũng Cho Stock Company, Đại Phát Food Company Limited, Chấn Kiệt Cho Stock Company, Beton Six Cho Stock Company, and Đức Hải Cho Stock Company, Liên Huê Sài Gòn Food Industry Company. Such the attention and support has always put and encouraged Huỳnh Tiểu Hương to have more faith and energy to devote her best to activities for the sake of the community. For 30 years on the humanitarian journey and 18 years of navigating Quê Hương boat, she touches oceans of joy and happiness, engendered by her children, as well as mountains of bitters and species of slender. Even so, Tiểu Hương has always been steadfast to the path she had chosen and constantly strives to better herself on the daily basis, making Quê Hương Humanitarian Center develop day by day. Such a development is not only reflected in the center's increasingly spacious and expanded facility and the rising number of children who have been raised and matured. We firmly believe that if the center is to be traveled by benefactors from near and far, in the age of 19 and its upcoming journey, together with her children, Tiểu Hương is to write many more beautiful stories about humanity and kindness under the shelter called Quê Hương.